How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it.
My name is Jonathan Gillum.
And this is The Experts. This is Jonathan Gillum, and this is The Experts on Facebook Live, Twitter, and YouTube. Yes, I'm wearing my spectacles tonight because I don't know, maybe it's the pain meds that I'm on, or who knows what it is. It's dry in the apartment because it's winter, but my eyes are foggy, so I'm going to wear them for part of the show, and then I'll take them off and see if I can see. Looks a little blurry. Listen, maybe we can get some MSM mainstream media or MSNBC fans to watch now that I'm wearing the glasses. I don't know. But I will tell you this. The mainstream media, as of today, I mean, I've been seeing this for a long time. They have sunk to depths that we've never seen before. And I know if you've seen the headline for the show, Kate Steinle's killer was found not guilty in San Francisco. No surprise. Let's talk about it. How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it. So it's no surprise, I guess, for a lot of people that, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. If you're not familiar with the case of Kate Steinle, I'm going to bring that up in just a little bit because really I think the reality of what we're seeing in mainstream media and politics, what we've seen in Berkeley and up and around San Francisco, we've got a problem in this country, folks. I talk about it all the time on this show, and I think this week is very interesting. It happens to be a week when I wasn't sure if I was going to do anything or not on this show, but the fact is there's so many odd things that are going on that it's hard not to come out and talk about this, to get involved. And despite the pain in my leg and despite the fact that I can't sit like this for very long tonight because my leg's not elevated, it's we can't not talk about this stuff, you know. And I'm eager to see if Facebook keeps my show up tonight. Last night, evidently, I said something or played something that they didn't like, so I immediately got cut off. I was playing the Apple commercial and talking about the reality of that. I'm going to do that towards the end of this show again, see what happens. But it is I hope I didn't say Apple. I meant CNN, the CNN commercial. I made that mistake yesterday. Again, I have to be very careful. You have to realize I have to monitor what I'm saying because I'm on pain meds right now. So I have to be very careful. I'm going to be very watchful of what I'm saying, of how I'm saying it, because I don't want anything to come back and bite me in the rear later on down the line. So the good thing is now, as I talked about yesterday, I have everybody's chats up here. So instead of looking all the way over here, I'm able to look here and talk at the same time while I'm looking at your chats. So that's a good thing. So let's start off real quick talking about the destruction. No, I shouldn't say destruction. The fall of mainstream media. I mean, they're so uncredible right now that, I mean, I don't know if y'all realize this, but if I was a judge in a court of law, and I'm not an attorney, I'm not a judge, but I have been an FBI agent. I've been in multiple law enforcement capacities, and I, not only as an agent doing a case, I would never use mainstream media as a source. And I've dealt with drug dealers, I've dealt with gun runners, I've dealt with human traffickers. I would use them as sources. I would never use mainstream media as a source, or most media, really. Anybody tells me they're a journalist these days, they're going to have some kind of credibility that backs that up. And majority of people in journalism just do not have that these days. We've been led to believe, I shouldn't say we, the American public and around the world has been led to believe that these anchors that you see on media or these editors that you see in the news, or the journalists that you see writing these columns every day, you've been led to believe that these people are steady, neutral investigators, that they are there to defend the rights of people and to keep government accountable. That's all bull crap. That's all crap. And what we see now is just through listen, sexual deviation is the easiest thing for these people to get caught with, because the reality is, you know, it's just like the internet. As soon as the internet was created, probably the second person once one person created the internet, or however it got created, it wasn't Al Gore, by the way, the very next person said, we could probably use that for porn and for doing illegal things on the dark web. I'm sure that's the way it pretty much went, because that's the way these nefarious people think. So when it came, you know, whenever it comes to deviant stuff that people do, as I said today on Sean Hannity's radio show, I just looked at somebody said Fox News started this mess. Yeah, right. Fox News did not start this mess, my friend, whoever that was. Fox News was one in the line of many different groups that have done this. Look, you can look in any power vacuum in the world, and you're going to see this throughout history. It's just that we live in a free country now where your rights are protected. Most people don't realize 242 years, that's not a long time for a country to be around. And all of our rights had to develop through that 242 years. And the reality is that this country, it sets the benchmark for freedoms and protections of freedoms and protections of rights. What you saw with Fox News was, I believe, it started a little bit before that with politics, but I believe in Fox News, when the door opened and people saw that individuals at high levels could be held accountable without well, there's always going to be fear, but that they could be held accountable, and the person holding them accountable could be victorious in bringing this out without being completely destroyed. I think what happened was the door was opened to a lot of people that for years and years would not have done anything or said anything, but now they feel strong enough to do that. So it's not like Fox and what happened with Roger Ailes or any of these other individuals that were at Fox News, that they started this and other people followed right along. Listen, this type of nefarious power behavior has been going on since mankind was created by God. It didn't take very long. I mean, if we look at the reality of Satan in the Garden of Eden and the way he lorded over Adam and Eve and convinced them to do things and use them to eat of the apple. Trust me, there's a reason why Satan used them to eat of the apple, and it wasn't because he wanted to watch them fail. It's because he knew they would get knowledge that he couldn't obtain because he wasn't going to eat that apple because he didn't want to die. So he didn't eat of that apple. He convinced Adam and Eve to eat of it, and then he's forever been right there with human beings all along the way so he can gain the knowledge that we have that he doesn't have, the knowledge of good and evil. So this has been around, this type of nefarious behavior has been around since the very beginning of mankind. What's happening in modern days, though, is that the United States, in all its glory, that the Founding Fathers created, has allowed people to be free in a place that their freedom can be protected. And so what we see now in media, and it's also in politics, it's also in Hollywood. I mean, we could almost loop all of them in together, because if you add into that Wall Street and the big bankers and the big corporations, I'm starting to sound like an activist, but it's not really an activist thing. I mean, this is a reality. This is where the power lies in this day and age. Look, I saw it in the FBI, and it wasn't necessarily with people at the very top. It was, a supervisor that was just over me, or the supervisor that was just over them. People that get a position of power have a choice to make. And quite often that choice is, in their mind, is already made up because they've got the power. They will lord it over people, and they will use that to oppress people. That's just the way that a lot of human beings are. You see it with 5-year-old children in sandboxes. You know, they have the toy, that kid doesn't. You got a choice. You can share the toy, or you can lord it over people. And that's just human nature. That's what happens. But again, we live in a country where people should be protected, and up until just recently, they have not been protected. So what's happening now is, as this stuff starts to come out, and more of these power brokers that have positions over people are being called onto the carpet, and their careers are being ruined. I to tell you the truth, I don't think it's going to stop those people from doing it, because people that are in a position of authority always think that they're in the right and that they're not going to get caught, or that what they're doing is not a crime. So I don't think that's going to stop. But I think what's going to happen is that people, victims, and people who are oppressed are going to start to have more courage, that they can have a voice, that they can come out and they can say things, and that a lot of people will stand behind them. I think ultimately this is, yes, whoever said it's way overdue, this is way overdue. And I think as the American people stand with these individuals, these accusers, that you're going to see more and more credible accusers come out. Now, here's what I want to guard against in all this, and I wasn't going to go down this line completely, but I will guard against this. You know, you should be able to tell a woman that she looks beautiful. I believe. I'm a man. I was created a man, and I will always find women beautiful. And if somebody walks in the room and they're just striking today, well, by gosh, I think that woman should know that, and you should be able to say, you look absolutely amazing today. There's nothing hitting on anybody. I'm paying a compliment. That should not be like Ashley Judd and her crazy ways, should not be confused as, man, you look amazing today, and I'd like to have sex with you right over here in this closet. You know, that is not what 99.999% of people out there are saying when men say to a woman, you look amazing. If you are a good person and you were just giving somebody a compliment, I hope that doesn't go away. That's my fear. The other thing is there are bad women in this world, just like there's bad men, and there are going to be people that are going to use this to actually, just like when there's a hurricane comes through and there's nefarious people that try to raise the prices on gas and gouge people, there's going to be people that are going to pick up on this, and they're going to try to use this to their advantage. And they're going to try to use this to get money and to exploit people because they know now they have the upper hand in the court of public opinion. So we have to guard against that as well. So all around, what the American people need to do is we need to come together and unify and stand behind people who have been victimized, who have been oppressed. But just like I always say about President Trump, I voted for him. I rallied behind him, but I'm going to hold him accountable. And I'm not going to allow President Trump just to go about his business without, if I see something that he did wrong, I'm going to point it out. Well, it's the same thing here. We should stand behind people who have been victimized, but we should not do it stupidly and say every single person that comes out is a victim, and that every as the woman that's the reporter for Teen Vogue, and you should not be letting your child read that communist magazine. But as she was saying, it doesn't really matter if men are falsely accused. It doesn't matter. That's not true. There are men that are victimized by this. So we need to be very careful, and we need to come up with standard ways that social norms where people act, and we back them and we stand with them, and but we also hold them accountable when they accuse people, so that we get the real stories. All right, so I don't know who this Emily character is over on Twitter, but don't even acknowledge that person. So what we've seen I just pulled up a whole bunch of different stories here on my phone. I got it right here in front of me. You know, you look at the liberal Huffington Post, and is making a ghoulish joke about John McCain. The Huffington Post tries to represent themselves as a professional magazine or professional newspaper, professional journalist entity, and they're as biased and fake as can be. And she comes out talking about John McCain. Says congratulations to John McCain's wife and children on their upcoming tax-free inheritance. Talking about when John McCain dies. You know, that's not professional at all, and that's the level that media has stooped in, where they will try to discredit President Trump, who's running for a political office, saying that he is a joke, but yet their reporters mix and match the reality of class and of real investigative reporting with leftist, comedic behavior like that right there. You also have on NBC, Savannah Guthrie she's being slammed for disrespecting her interview of a woman that was sexually harassed by John Conyers. This is a woman that has stood up, and when Matt Lauer was ousted the other day, she said, let me see if I can get the quote here. It's actually quite disturbing. She says that she was I don't want to misquote her here, so let me get this quote. Oh, this is a sad morning here at Today and NBC News. Guthrie said before explaining Lauer's ousting to viewers Wednesday. This is off of FoxNews.com. All we can say is that we are heartbroken. I'm heartbroken for Matt. He is my dear friend and my partner, and he is beloved by many, many people. She then went on to say she's also heartbroken for the brave colleague who came forward to tell her story. Now, I find that just very, very odd that people that you have that she just has to come out and she has to say that instead of, look, when this stuff starts to fall, the best way that people should be, especially if they're representing themselves as journalists and as news people, is to take a step back and say, I mean, this is the way it used to be done. Recuse yourself and say, I'm close to Matt Lauer, so I'm going to keep my comments to myself, and I'm going to stay neutral in this because I'm in shock, quite frankly, and my ability to stay neutral as a journalist is out the door, so I'm going to let somebody else comment on this. That would be the way that a professional journalist would handle that. But to come out and say that she is, and this isn't the first time, you know, Savannah Guthrie has obviously had something, I don't know if it was sexual or what it is with Matt Lauer, but the way that she was with Katie Curry, I think it was Katie Curry when they ousted her, who was bullied by Matt Lauer. I think she has a little bit more credibility behind her claims now. And then, I mean, look, these things were, a lot of this stuff was known, it appears. Ann Curry, I'm sorry, yes, Ann Curry. Thank you, Maureen. Matt Lauer had a huge bag of sex toys in his office. I mean, that's just, look, having worked in the government and having worked in as an agent, not in politics, but worked as an agent in different law enforcement agencies, having been a contractor with the Department of Homeland Security and been in the military, I'm here to tell you, if you had an office and you had a bunch of sex toys in a bag and it was just known, there was going to be problems with that. And you probably were going to be ousted, fired, brought up on charges. I mean, there's nothing, first of all, there's no reason for you to have that in a professional manner. But it's odd nonetheless and unethical. And in the case of this, there's no standards for the way that these power brokers are held accountable. Landshark said you'd be brought up on charges. Most likely you would. I mean, you can't even joke around about that stuff now. You walk a tight rope. Not really a tight. See, they say a tight rope. You walk a tight rope, and the reality is they set standards, and you have to follow those standards, or else you're going to get fired. You're going to get brought up on charges. But it seems like when it comes to media, when it comes to Hollywood, when it comes to politics, you could say and do whatever you want. And as far as the House of Representatives and the Senate, not only can you do what you want, but they have a slush fund that they created using our taxpayers' money to pay these people off. I mean, we seriously need to have a look at this in this country and these power brokers and set some laws that just say you can't do this. You know, you just, in the workplace, you just can't do it. Look, you want to have an apartment like a hoarder full of sex toys where you got to walk through an aisle like this and you want to invite people over to your house? That's fine. You know, that's on your own. You're in your house. They'll call you weird, but that's up to you. But to have that at home, to have that at work, I mean, there's no standards of accountability. And when you look at Washington, D.C., you see the fact that there is no standard of the way they handle classified information. They don't get punished when they do that wrong. They don't get punished when they commit espionage. They don't get punished when they leak information or when they unmask people. These people don't get held to a standard that the rest of us in government who are in a professional position do. And that is something that you must realize. The people who are the agents and by and large the support staff, people who go through training in the government that work in the agencies, they are professionals. But when you look at politicians, they're not professional government people. I know that sounds strange. What they are criminals, majority of them, and some real Americans who go up there to try to make laws and make sense of stuff. But listen, I'm going to say it right now, and I'll talk about this more down the line, but we need to have some other professionals from different areas to talk about this. We need to revamp our government. I mean, our government has gone to a point now where it's not even just the two parties, which aren't, I don't think, legal myself. They are two private companies monopolizing every seat of government in the United States. It's gone past that to the point where the actions and the behaviors that these people have up there and in media are so narcissistic, psychopathic, and criminal that I just don't see how we can proceed and expect honest governance of this country to occur. And when you look at the media in comparison with it, they're one family. You know, I've often talked about the family tree of the leftists, the communist subversion. I mean, it's pretty much this nefarious behavior all around. You got this big tree, and each branch that comes out, you have big money donors and big money lobbyists and Wall Street people. You have, and the bankers. You have Washington, D.C. Power elite. You have the Hollywood elite. You have Silicon Valley elite. I'm using the word elite, in other words, the people at the very top. You have the mainstream media elite. You have all these different people that are in positions of authority that are in cahoots together, and all their behavior is the same, while the rest of us, if we did the things that they did, we would be in jail. Listen, I said this over and over. We haven't heard anything about Al Franken the past week. If you were to go and grab a woman down the street and put your hand on her behind and then stick your tongue, grab her forcefully and stick your tongue down her throat, you're going to go to jail for assault. Guarantee it. But Al Franken can do it and just say, well, he's just a comedian. You know, it's there's some strange stuff that has become mainstream in all of these areas. It's the same in Wall Street. I've talked to people. One of the biggest reality checks I got when I came to New York City as a young FBI agent was how much cocaine and prostitution is going on in Wall Street. It's unbelievable. In politics, very similar circumstances. You look at people like Matt Lauer, who sit out there every day, and he's doing all this stuff with a button he can lock his office door, and he's got a bag of sex toys in there, holding some women into the room and not letting them leave. This stuff is criminal and is very deviant, very deviant. So, I mean, it's interesting. It's like it's happening so rapidly. Not that they're becoming this way, but the visible expanse between the normal, everyday, hardworking people in this country and these power elites in all these different areas, the expanse is starting to become wider, and you're really starting to see it. Now, the difference, and this exists like in Central South America and all over the country, you have the rich and you have the poor. But the difference between us and them is this expanse is not so much between the rich and poor. In fact, I would put the power elites up here, and I would put the very, very poor right here underneath them. Now, what do I mean by that? The very, very poor are dependent on the government, and they will do just basically, they'll buy whatever clothes Hollywood says is cool. They'll buy whatever record that the media says is awesome. They will believe whatever the mainstream media tells them is true about Donald Trump or anything else. So they're right here, and this is the power elites, and these are the people that are dependent on this country, and they're right there. Look, they're poor, but they're dependent on all this stuff. So they're like when you see a shark swimming through the water and they got all those little sucker fish on them. That's what it's basically all about is they clean the bacteria off the shark, and the shark doesn't eat them. So that's basically what this is all about. You got the power in this country, the power elite money brokers, and you got these little sucker fish that are all dependent on everything. They never get off dependency, and the power brokers continue to make it so they can be dependent. Now, You set that over here, and you have this huge expansion down to the middle class in this country, the workers, the people who have dreams and aspirations and goals and morals and ethics. And now you see the difference between Latin America and the Middle East and other places where the gap is between the rich and the poor. Well, here the gap is between the rich and poor that are dependent. I should say the rich and dependent, and the middle class. And the middle class is starting to go, what is this? What is this all about? We do the same things that they do. We go to jail. The majority of crime comes from the lower income people in this country who are in a dependent state. They do the majority of the crime that can be punished, and the other big crimes are happening up here in the power brokers, Washington, D.C., Wall Street, the bankers, the mainstream media executives, and so on and so forth, and all these different people. You get the middle class who, by and large, go to work and try to make a living and take care of their families, and so you see this difference there. We would go to jail for all the things that they do. And here's the other thing. I said this before about liberals. Leftists in this country and around the world, they get their morals and ethics from knowledge and books and law. If the law says this is wrong, then they say, okay, that's bad. You don't do that. If the law says, okay, this is acceptable or there's no law against it, then they say, okay, then that means it's good. Whereas on the other side, you have I would say the conservatives, the religious-centered people in this world and in this country, and those people get their morals and ethics from their religion. They understand love. They understand morals and ethics. They don't have to be told by law that you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't put a button on your desk that keeps so you can lock the door and keep a woman in there until she says, okay, I'll have sex with you. That's wrong. Doesn't mean there has to be a policy or law against it. You know that it's wrong because your morals and ethics and values come from religion, which is based in love and based in what's best for the other person. So you see, there's a huge, that's why you get the things that are happening here in media, and it just doesn't, to you and I, it doesn't make any sense, but the reality is, to them, they will do and act however they want as long as they are, quote unquote, not breaking the law. So, I've been paying attention to Twitter, but whoever this Emily person is, she must be outraged. Did we trigger her? Oh, there she is. So all she wants to talk about. So Emily, see, here's a perfect example. You come on to my show and you want to troll everybody and get people spun up. First of all, you can talk all day about Trump. I'm not talking about Trump, so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to block her, but I'll block her in a minute. Here's the reality. She knows a little bit about something, and she gets that from mainstream media, which is I talked about yesterday, and I'm going to show you my video here in a few minutes about I made my own video to go back against CNN's video about this Apple banana stuff. Emily, you don't know loads. You read, right? See, you read and you watch TV. I experience life. I go out and I work for the federal government. I go out and I go through academies. I go through boot camp. I go out on the front line in different places in the war on drugs and this and that. And I work in the FBI. I see how corrupt it is at the top. I've worked in the White House for a week answering phones. I've stood in the DNC and the RNC and watched how things work. You haven't, Emily. You said you read. That's what you do. So you basically read stuff that other people write down. You don't have life experience, Emily. You don't have an understanding of reality, Emily, because you haven't been out there. You don't know. So everything that you are and everything that comes out of your mouth is a regurgitation. You don't, look, and she just says this is what all liberals do. She welcomes debate. You don't welcome debate. Because debate should be a conversation between two people about facts. And see, here's what you all have forgotten in this country and in this world, is that you think that what you're being told and what you read are facts. And that's not the case most of the time. It's spun. the example I gave yesterday after I played that video about the CNN commercial is they're talking about the difference between an apple and a banana and saying that the lies are about what's an apple and what's a banana. And by the way, CNN, another thing that's disgusting about that is that CNN and all the leftists are using banana to refer to Donald Trump, saying that he is a golden, because of his hair, penis. All right. So again, the leftists will stoop to that because they don't have morals and ethics. So, but here's the thing. See, Emily, when you listen to what they say, here's what happens. You know, if I lie to you in media, it's probably not going to be me telling you that's a banana when it's really an apple, because you're going to be able to discern through knowledge of your life that is not an apple, that's a banana, or vice versa. But if you don't know and you haven't eaten enough apples, and maybe you're not a big fruit person and you haven't gone around and you haven't understood the different types of apples, I can tell you this is a red delicious apple. And you say, yeah, it's red and it's delicious. That's the truth. Well, that's not the truth. It may be a Fuji apple, what kind of apple it is. There's several different types of apples. So it's not that that people aren't trying to convince you of lies that are completely falsified. It's that they're taking the information that you don't have and they're twisting that and filling it. When I've explained this many, many, many times over the past 2.5 years I've been doing this show, 2 years, is that they don't, it's the same as if you take a big puzzle, you know, those 1,000-piece puzzles. And, okay, so you said you're open to this. Listen to this. And I'm not just saying, Emily, that it's only CNN. I am not a fan of InfoWars, of these types of groups, right, that spin stuff up. But this is what they do. You take one of those 1,000-piece puzzles and you put just the bottom part of it together, and there's a dog. And then, so I show that to you, and you say, okay, there's a dog. I get it. And then, but you don't see the rest of the picture. I already know because I got the box what that picture is. You don't know, I do. So I create a whole rest of the picture saying this dog, right after this picture was taken, attacked a mom and 3 kids and killed them, and the dog was owned by so-and-so, and now the dog is going to be put in jail, or the dog's going to be killed and the person's going to be put in jail. All right, that's a completely fabricated story. But you saw the dog right here. Now, I lied to you. I lied to you because I didn't give you the exact story. I made up the rest of what you couldn't see. So what I suggest that you do is not only get more life experience, become an investigator, because we're being lied to on all accounts, is go out there and seek the truth by looking at different types of news sources, you know, taking the little bits and pieces to see where it's the same, and then getting to know what Washington, D.C. is all about, going out and doing this type of stuff. What you need, what you have to do is stop believing when you're told this is a dog that killed everybody, and start looking for the rest of that picture. You know this is a dog. What's the rest of the picture? You can't believe what they are telling you because it's all skewed. It's all full of narratives and lies. And it's done by people like the Matt Lauers. It's by the people in Washington, D.C., you know, all these different people who are unethical, who say and do whatever they want so they can pad their pockets, stay in office, climb a career, and they have the power of information that you and I don't have. So how do you get around that vacuum? You go out and you seek. You go out and you seek the bits and pieces that you can collect to try to put together a realistic picture. I can't tell you any more than that. But that's what I do on this show. I don't come out here and try to belittle people. I don't come out here and try to tell lies about somebody. If I don't, and you can ask anybody on here that have watched this show, if I don't know the facts of something, then I don't go into great detail about it. I'll try to go get an expert that can talk about it. But I do have a broad perspective on a lot of this stuff because of the areas in which I've worked. So, Emily, I don't want you to tune out of this show. I want you to stay tuned in. If you have to take bits and pieces from this show and then compare it over there, and you got to come back and ask a question, feel free to do that. Direct message me, whatever you got to do. And together, the more of us that do this, the more not only understanding of reality we'll get, but also the more unified we'll become. And you'll see that we'll stop arguing and start standing together, because ultimately that's what we want to do. So you don't have to apologize, Emily. It sounds like Emily is a strong person with a when we want people like this in this country, because you're free. You're a freeborn person, so you're a strong person with strong opinions. Let's just make sure that you are well informed so that you can be a warrior for truth. That's what I hope, and I'll stand with you. But what I don't like is when people come on and disrespect each other and just get in a big argument and start talking about Trump this, Trump that, because, I mean, here's the reality, Emily, and everybody should know this. Trump came on the scene a year ago, right? This country's been in bad shape for probably over 100 years. We've been going downhill. And a large part, it has to do with the Republican and the Democratic parties and Hollywood and Satan himself. That's the truth. So somebody was asking, Elizabeth was asking over here on Facebook about Joe Scarborough, and I need to look into more about Joe Scarborough. I don't really know about that stuff. So we're going to have to look into more about that. And Emily just said we can agree to disagree. I don't think we need to disagree on this. If we just say this, you may not agree on how I feel about Trump or what, that's fine. I'm not worried about that. But you should agree with me on the fact that truth is most important, and you cannot trust any of these people in media to give you the full truth. You got to go out, you got to seek it, and you got to find it yourself. Try to stay in a neutral standpoint, because just like I tell people from an investigative standpoint in the FBI, if I let my opinion or if I let stories that people were telling me lead the way, I would never find the truth. So you have to let the facts lead you. And yeah, I do know that there was a dead intern in Scarborough's office years back. Interesting how that story never went anywhere. That's when he was a congressman, though. So let me talk about one other thing, and then I'm going to go because my leg's starting to hurt. I'm starting to sweat. Those of you who don't know, I've had, I had this accident and stuff. I'm sure everybody has to know. Sean talked about it on the radio program today, so I'm sure most people know about it. So I'm not even going to go to the A block, but Kate Steinle, her killer, was found not guilty. Remember, the court of law doesn't tell you whether somebody's innocent. It's whether or not they can be proven not guilty. So if you can't prove somebody guilty, then they're going to be found not guilty. Now, this is a guy who's an illegal immigrant who was in San Francisco, and he says that he found a gun on the ground and that it went off when he picked it up. It ricocheted off the ground and hit Kate Steinle. Well, I don't know if that's the truth or not. There have been reports that he was playing his version of Russian roulette with the gun. The gun had been stolen from a government agent. I think he was with the Bureau of either Land Management or Parks or Services or something like that. And the gun went off. Now, even if he had been doing this accidentally, somebody just said he was twirling it. I hadn't heard that, but even if he was doing that and it went off, that's still manslaughter. And I think what we can see in this San Francisco area is that it has become such a dangerous place that in order to stick it to a president that's only been in office for a year, because he's not a communist and because he doesn't follow what they believe, they will let a killer of an innocent woman go free just to stick it to Trump. And you don't have to say any more than that. It simply comes down to that. They let this guy go free because they wanted to stick it to Trump. And as Carolyn Nina said, it's another OJ verdict. Absolutely right. It is that's all this is. So I don't really have to say much more about that. It's sad. It's very, very sad. And I agree. Listen, I don't know Sarah Palin. I'm not going to bring her, but there was a quote right here. She says, San Francisco is not a fair place, or safe place, excuse me. I agree totally. It's not safe there. Neither is Washington, D.C., for that matter. All right, so I think that's about it for tonight. I'll come on tomorrow night. We'll do the Friday Night Toast, and then I'm going to get some more rest and hopefully finish this audiobook, which is almost done. Remember, if you haven't ordered Sheep No More, Emily, you got to go and get this book, Sheep No More. It's at Amazon right now. You get it for $11. It's normally $15, but Amazon has a sale on it. It'll be out December 12th. Order it, and Emily, I can guarantee you when you read this, you'll start to see things in a little bit different light. You'll be able to see how not to be a victim, that's for sure. And I hope everybody else goes out and orders it. Do it now. That way when the first printing comes out, because here's what my fear is. If there's more orders than there are books, because everybody waits to the last minute, then they're going to have to wait for the second printing to get their book. So that's what I hope people do is they go out and order this. And this is a great Christmas present. As you know, there's been ISIS has said that they're going to try to attack Times Square for Christmas. If you get this book December 12th, remember, this book is already written. It's already being printed. What you will see is that there is one last prediction in this book that I make at the very end. And I'm going to give you just a little peek of this. And let's see here. One last prediction. Times Square. That book was already written when ISIS came out and made that prediction. So this is an effective tool for you to target yourself and be safer, and for you to be able to look at your life and divide it up into sectors so that you can target each sector and say, in this sector of my life, there's 4 ways that could be attacked. In that sector, there's 2 ways. In that sector, probably not going to be attacked. And you can also say, in this sector, I'll be burglarized, or I'll be robbed, or I could be hit by a sexual predator. In this sector, I could be hit by a terrorist, or whatever. So you can divvy your life up and literally discover the different ways that you could be attacked, who would attack you, why they would attack you, where they would attack you, when they would attack you, and how it would be done. It's all in that book. All right, so also the GoFundMe page, gofund.me/The Experts Roadshow. Make sure you go there and make sure that you continue to support this show. I can't thank everybody enough for all that they've done. There it is right there below me, gofund.me/The Experts Roadshow. And for the people who have donated $50 or more, you're going to get a signed book. We're going to have to get your address. We'll get that out to you eventually. And that's about it. God bless everybody. Hope this show made sense. I know it was a little rambly. But, I know what I wanted to do before I go. Let's do this. Let me send this over to my computer here. And I'm going to play Apple's video, and just in case I get knocked off, I wanted to save it to the very end, and then I want to play my video. So stand by here. Let me pull it up here. First, I got to send my video over to the computer. There you go. So just so we get mine done first. Well, no, let's do the Apple one first, or the CNN one first. Okay. So I got to upload this one real quick. So stand by. Just wait 1 second. Don't go anywhere. I got to load it. You're getting to see how all this stuff works.
Hello, I'm an Apple. In CNN's recent commercial about fake news,
let me turn it off. Well, we'll just leave it right there. Okay. So CNN's video is going to play right here. And then I'll play my video right after it. And hopefully you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Hold on. Stand by. I got the whirling thing of death. One day I'm going to have to get a new laptop. This thing is just dying. Okay, here we go. Stand by. Stand by to stand by. I wish I could show you the video. This spinning wheel of death here on my laptop. Hold on. Stand by. It appears as though my laptop has frozen. So let's do this. Wait one more second. Don't tune out. Stay there, all 150 people. If you haven't shared this, make sure you share it. If you haven't retweeted it, make sure you retweet right now. And then I'm gonna get this going here so you can see this video and then what I did afterwards. And then the video that I did with the Apple that you saw part of it there for a second, you can go and you can actually pull that up on Facebook and Twitter, and you can retweet that or replay it. So let's see here. My goodness. One of these days I'm gonna have enough money and have everything backed up enough where when this happens, I can just literally live on the show crush my computer so that you can feel the joy of destroying an Apple product when it doesn't work correctly. Because they've become less. I never had this problem when I had old Apple products. They worked right. Excuse me. All right, let's see if this does it. You're destroying my show, Apple. All right. There it goes. All right, we're going to play theirs first, and we'll play mine afterwards. If it comes up. There it goes. This is CNN, just in case Facebook is going to cut this off. This is a CNN commercial. It's a fair game. It's out there in the public's eye, public domain, so we should be able to play this. All right, hold on. We still have the spinning wheel of death. This is highly anticipated. I think I know how I'm going to get around this. Okay, here we go. Let's just do it this way.
This is an apple. Some people might try to tell you that it's a banana. They might scream and over again.
Okay, here we go. Come on. What is wrong with this computer?
This is an apple. Some people might try to tell you that it's a banana. They might scream banana, banana, banana over and over and over again. They might put banana in all caps. You might even start to believe that this is a banana. But it's not. This is an apple.
Okay. Now, as you can see there, folks, what they did was they have, first of all, used a phallic symbol of a banana to represent Donald Trump, the golden hair, and calling him a penis. And and they're trying to say that the lie exists in media, that the lie exists between what Donald Trump is saying the truth and what the truth really is by calling the truth an apple. So I made this little video last night, and yes, some of you smart enough to realize this is my voice. So let's play my video now.
Hello, I'm an apple. In CNN's recent commercial about fake news, they use the example of a banana and an apple, and people peddling fake news as telling you that I'm a banana when I'm actually an apple. But you see, that's not really what the lie is. Most people can discern what a banana is versus an apple. But where the real lie exists is in the narrative, such as, if you don't know anything about apples, you may not know that there's different types of apples. So they may tell you I'm a red delicious apple when I'm really a Fuji apple. The same thing exists if you don't know the reality and the details of what's actually happening behind the scenes in the news. They'll tell you one thing when it's really another. That's where the real lie exists. And yes, I am an apple, and CNN are liars.
All right, there you go. You know, somebody said you should have used the Debbie Wasserman Schultz voice, and I was going to, but I didn't want to, because I'm going to do Debbie Wasserman Schultz video, so I didn't want to use her voice for that. So there you go. I hope that explains everything I've been trying to say tonight about the media and the reality of all their lies and stuff. So make sure I put that up on Facebook and on Twitter. It's also on Instagram. Make sure you get that. Let's make that thing go viral, because that's the reality of what CNN doesn't want you to know. That's the real lie. Let's go to the Truth Zone. Sorry that took so long. Good Lord. All right, I got to get my foot elevated. This is killing me. I got a big elephant foot down there now. All right, so here's the thing, folks. Out of all the stuff that happened tonight on this show, I got to tell you, I think one of the best things that happened was the conversation we had with Emily. I'm not saying that I won Emily over tonight, that she's going to tune into the show every night, but I will tell you this, that that's the way you have conversations with people. First of all, don't step into the debate ring unless you have true facts. And I hate to say this to people, but reading alone doesn't do it. Watching the news source that you like alone doesn't do it. And listening to those people who deem themselves to be academic elites doesn't do it. You have to seek out. No, I don't have gout, Emily. Thank you for asking. I had an accident and tore my my quadricep tendon off my knee. So I had surgery on Tuesday, but thank you. But here, you have to get a full, well-rounded understanding of the reality of what's going on. You seek it out. Don't just be those angry people. See, you don't even have to be angry, because the reality is the truth wants you to know. The truth is out there. You just have to find it. And being angry and having these angry discussions back and forth, it doesn't really do anybody any good. It certainly doesn't do the truth any good. Nefarious people, you got to remember this, whether they're sexual predators, whether they're economic predators where they're going out and doing nefarious things like building a Ponzi scheme like Bernie Madoff, whether they're nefarious garage owners that will tell you something's wrong with your car when it's not, or people that tell you bring your computer and we'll look at it when it's not really broken. Predators, these are people that prey on you, and the way they get over on you is if you don't have the knowledge and understanding. If you don't have the understanding of the way they work, that is most important out of all this. Seek the truth, but know your enemy. Know the people that want to lie to you, that want to use you, that want to oppress you. Know them. Know their tactics. Know how they behave. Know their actions. And then, when you start to seek the truth, it will just pop out at you. Because you may not be able to discern through the limited knowledge that you have and information. You may not be able to get the exact truth, but you will know that what they're saying is a scam, that they're working against you. That's what you'll know. Don't forget, share this show. It's important that we share it. Go to the GoFundMe page. Donate. I don't care if it's $10 or $10,000. I'd rather it be $10,000. We could do this show. Wouldn't have to worry about a studio picking us up. But go donate. It lets me know that you're in support of what's happening. And go get this book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival. Right? You will not be sorry. Trust me. I'm not looking for a Pulitzer Prize for my writing, but I wrote every word in this book. And you have to realize this is knowledge that comes from experience and understanding and deep study in the way unconventional attackers attack and the best ways to defend yourself. It's all right here, folks. If you're not a reader, this is going to be the one that you want to read. I'm Jonathan Gillum. My good buddy Rico's up there asleep on the bed. I got to try to take it for a walk with my crutches. This is The Experts. And remember, wherever you see me, wherever you see Rico, not only are we a light in the world, but know this. The truth has arrived. How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it.